Right now, your baby is looking at you, and there is something they have been trying to tell you every single day since the moment they arrived. Something so quiet, so woven into the ordinary fabric of your life together that most parents never fully see it. What you are about to learn in the next few minutes will not just change how you watch your baby. It will change how you understand everything that is happening between the two of you in the moments you thought were simple. Welcome to Silent Baby Mind. Subscribe right now, because what you're about to learn today will permanently change the way you look at your child. Stay until the very last sign, because sign number 7 is the one that most parents never expect, and the one that will stay with you the longest. Let's start with something that researchers in developmental psychology have spent decades trying to understand: the invisible architecture of the bond between a caregiver and an infant. Most parents think about bonding in terms of love, and love is certainly part of it. But what science has uncovered goes much deeper than an emotion. What is forming between you and your baby right now, in the feeding, in the holding, in the quiet minutes when you are simply in the same room, is a biological and neurological system that will shape who your child becomes for the rest of their life. It is called attachment, and your baby has already been showing you signs of it. These are 7 of them. 1. Your baby calms down faster in your arms than anywhere else. You have probably noticed it already, even if you never gave it a name. Your baby is crying, really crying, the kind of cry that fills the room, and someone else is holding them, rocking them, doing everything right. And then you take them, and within moments, sometimes within seconds, the crying changes. The body softens, the breathing slows, something shifts. That is not coincidence. That is neuroscience. In the first months of life, an infant's nervous system is profoundly immature. Babies are born without the ability to self-regulate. They cannot calm themselves down the way an older child or adult can. What they have instead is you. The technical term researchers use is co-regulation, and it describes the process by which a caregiver's calm, predictable presence actively helps stabilize an infant's internal state. Research led by developmental neuroscientist Dr. Nim Tottenham at Columbia University has shown that early caregiver-infant interactions directly shape the developing stress response system in babies, including the structures in the brain that govern emotional regulation. When a baby is held by their primary attachment figure, the person whose heartbeat, scent, and voice they have mapped more thoroughly than anyone else in the world, their cortisol levels, the biological marker of stress, drop measurably, not because of the rocking, not because of the warmth alone, because of who is doing the holding. Your voice at a specific frequency, your specific smell, the rhythm of your particular breathing. These are not just familiar to your baby. They are regulatory signals. They are the cues your baby's developing brain uses to answer the question, am I safe right now? When you are the one holding them, the answer comes back yes, faster, more completely, and more reliably than it does from anyone else. This differential calming, the way a baby settles more quickly with their primary caregiver than with others, is one of the earliest and most reliable indicators that a secure attachment bond is forming. It is your baby's nervous system telling you something their words will not be able to say for years. You are the one. You are home. 2. Your baby looks for your face before they react to something new. Watch for this the next time something unexpected happens in your baby's environment: a new sound, a new person, an unfamiliar object. Before your baby decides how to feel about it, they will look at you. It happens fast, sometimes just a flicker of the eyes, and most parents miss it entirely. But it is one of the most sophisticated things a young infant does. Developmental researchers call this behavior social referencing, and it has been studied extensively since the landmark visual cliff experiments conducted by Mary Ainsworth and later expanded by researchers including Joseph Campos at UC Berkeley. What those studies demonstrated is that infants as young as 8 to 10 months old actively look to their caregiver's face to read emotional information before forming their own response to an ambiguous situation. In other words, your baby is using your face as a guide to the world. They are asking you, without words, should I be afraid of this? Is this okay? Is this something I can explore? And depending on what they read on your face, your expression, your tone, the quality of your gaze, they will decide. This is not a simple learned behavior. It reflects the degree to which your baby has come to understand that your emotional signals are meaningful and trustworthy. A baby who has not formed a secure bond does not reference their caregiver this reliably, because they have not yet built the internal model that says, that person's face tells me the truth about my world. When your baby looks at you before they react, they are not being timid. They are being brilliant. They are using the most reliable source of information available to them. They are using you. 3. Your baby reaches for you when they are frightened, even if someone else is closer. This one can feel personal, almost fierce, the first time you really see it. A baby in a mildly startling situation, a sudden loud noise, a fall, a moment of discomfort, will, if their primary caregiver is in the room, orient their entire body toward that person, reaching arms, arching toward, turning the head, even if someone else is right there, even if someone else is already touching them. John Bowlby, the British psychiatrist whose foundational work on attachment theory transformed developmental psychology, described this as activation of the attachment behavioral system. What he meant is that infants are biologically wired, at a level that precedes language and conscious thought, to seek proximity to their primary attachment figure whenever their internal sense of safety is threatened. That wiring does not care about proximity in the room. It cares about the specific person. The baby reaching for you across the room while someone else holds them is not being dramatic. They are doing exactly what millions of years of evolution built them to do. When the system that monitors safety registers a threat, it sends one signal: get to your person. Get to the one whose presence means the threat will pass. Get to the one your nervous system already knows is safe. Mary Ainsworth's strange situation experiments, conducted in the 1970s and replicated many times since, documented this differential reaching behavior in infants between 12 and 18 months. What she found is that securely attached infants showed clear and directed seeking behavior toward their primary caregiver during distress, not generalized seeking toward any available adult. The directionality mattered. The specificity mattered. It was not just comfort they were reaching for. It was you, specifically. 4. Your baby smiles at you differently than they smile at anyone else. All parents believe their baby's smile is special. And they are right, but perhaps not in the way they think. Research in early social development has identified a distinction between two types of infant smiles: reflexive smiles, which appear in the first weeks of life and are not yet socially directed, and social smiles, which emerge around 6 to 8 weeks and are specifically targeted at human faces. But within the category of social smiling, developmental scientists have documented something even more nuanced. Studies by researchers including Daniel Messenger at the University of Miami, who spent years analyzing the biomechanics of infant facial expressions, found that infants produce qualitatively different smiles depending on who is generating them. The smile your baby gives you, particularly the one that involves the full face, the crinkling around the eyes, the open-mouthed expression of complete unconstrained joy, is called a Duchenne smile, named after the neurologist who first identified the muscle groups that produce it. It is the smile that cannot be faked. In adults, the Duchenne smile is a reliable indicator of genuine positive emotion precisely because the muscle involved around the eyes is not easily activated on command. When your baby gives you that full face, eyes crinkling, completely unguarded smile, they are not performing. They are experiencing. Something in their developing brain is registering your presence, your face, your interaction with them, and producing a response that registers as the highest category of positive emotional experience their nervous system is currently capable of generating. You are not just making your baby happy. You are, neurologically speaking, producing joy. And the research suggests that the frequency and depth of these genuine smiles between infant and primary caregiver in the first year of life are predictive of later social-emotional outcomes. Every real smile your baby gives you is a data point about who they are becoming, and they are saving the best one for you. 5. Your baby imitates you before they imitate anyone else. Sometime in the first months of life, something remarkable begins. You stick out your tongue, and your baby sticks out theirs. You open your mouth wide, and a tiny mouth opens in response. You raise your eyebrows, and something flickers across your baby's face that looks unmistakably like an echo of your own expression. This is neonatal imitation, and it was first documented in a landmark 1977 study by developmental psychologists Andrew Meltzoff and M. Keith Moore, who demonstrated that infants as young as 12 to 21 days old could imitate specific adult facial gestures. The findings were so surprising that they were initially met with scientific skepticism. Babies that young were not supposed to have the neurological machinery for that kind of mirroring. But the research held up, was replicated across dozens of subsequent studies, and transformed how developmental scientists understand the infant brain. What makes imitation particularly significant in the context of attachment is not just that babies do it, it is who they do it most readily with. Research consistently shows that infants are more likely to engage in sustained imitative exchanges with their primary caregiver than with unfamiliar adults, and that these imitative interactions are not passive. Babies take turns. They imitate, then watch for your response, then imitate again. They are learning the structure of conversation, the back and forth of human communication, using your face as their textbook. Neuroscientists have connected this early imitation behavior to the mirror neuron system, the network of brain cells that activates both when we perform an action and when we observe someone else performing the same action. This system is considered foundational to empathy, to social learning, and to the capacity to understand other minds. And your baby is building it right now, using you as the primary mirror. When your baby copies your face, they are not just doing something cute, they are becoming human in the deepest sense of that word. And they are doing it by watching you. 6. Your baby protests when you leave, but settles when you come back. This one is hard to watch in the moment. You leave the room and your baby cries, sometimes instantly, sometimes as soon as they register your absence. It can feel like distress you caused, like something you are doing wrong. It is not. It is one of the clearest signs that a secure attachment bond is developing exactly as it should. What your baby is displaying in that moment is called separation protest, and it emerges predictably around 8 to 10 months of age as a baby's cognitive capacity develops enough to hold a mental representation of you in mind. Before this developmental milestone, out of sight genuinely means out of mind. Your baby does not yet have the neurological machinery to maintain a stable image of you when you are not present. When that machinery begins to come online, your absence becomes real to them in a new way. And when something real and important disappears, the appropriate response is to signal for its return. The important piece, the part that distinguishes secure attachment from anxious attachment, is what happens when you come back. In Mary Ainsworth's strange situation research, the reunion behavior was considered at least as diagnostically meaningful as the separation behavior. Securely attached infants, those who had experienced consistent responsive caregiving, showed a specific pattern. They protested separation. And when their caregiver returned, they sought contact, accepted comfort, and relatively quickly returned to a state of calm engagement. The distress was real, and the recovery was real. Both were signs of the same thing, a baby whose attachment system is functioning as designed. The protest is not a problem. The protest is evidence. It tells you that your baby has developed a stable enough internal model of you that your absence registers as a loss worth crying over. They have built you into their understanding of the world so thoroughly that the world feels wrong without you in it. 7. Your baby makes eye contact with you to share an experience, not just to ask for something. This last one is the quietest and perhaps the most profound. It is easy to miss because it looks, on the surface, like nothing. Your baby is playing. They pick up an object, turn it over, mouth it, set it down, and then they look at you. Not because they need anything, not because something went wrong, just to look, just to share the moment with the one person they most want to share things with. Developmental researchers call this behavior joint attention, and it is considered one of the most significant milestones in early social and cognitive development. The formal definition is the act of coordinating attention between an object or event and another person for the purpose of sharing the experience. It emerges in most infants between 9 and 12 months and is considered foundational to language acquisition, to theory of mind, the understanding that other people have their own thoughts and feelings, and to the broader architecture of human social connection. But there is something in the joint attention literature that goes beyond the developmental milestone. Research published by developmental scientist Cynthia Moore and others has shown that the quality of joint attention exchanges between infants and their primary caregiver in the first year of life is predictive of later language outcomes, emotional competence, and social functioning. The quality, not just the presence of the behavior, but the depth of the connection in those moments. When your baby looks at you to share something, they are not just demonstrating a cognitive milestone. They are inviting you into their experience of the world. They are saying, with a look, I notice something, and you are the one I want to notice it with me. That is not need. That is choice. That is your baby. With a brain that is still forming, with language that has not yet arrived, finding the most sophisticated social behavior available to them and directing it at you. Because you are the one. Because you have always been the one. Now look back at everything you just learned. The way your baby settles faster in your arms than in anyone else's. The way their eyes find your face before they decide how to feel about something new. The reaching toward you across a room when the world feels uncertain. The smile that lights up everything they have. The imitation that says, your face is the one worth learning from. The protest that proves you are real and important and irreplaceable to them. And that quiet moment when they look up from what they are doing, for no reason at all, just to find you there. These are not random behaviors. They are not coincidences. They are a language. A language your baby has been speaking to you since before they had a single word, built not from sounds, but from reaches and gazes and sighs and smiles. Your baby did not just bond with you. They built their understanding of the world around you. Every time you responded, every time you showed up, every time you came back, you were teaching them something that no curriculum could ever deliver. You were teaching them that the world is safe enough to explore, that people can be trusted, that love is consistent and real. That is not a small thing. That is the foundation of everything they will ever build. If this video gave you a new way to see what is already happening between you and your baby, please share it with another parent who deserves to hear it. And if you want to keep understanding the incredible science behind your child's developing mind, subscribe to Silent Baby Mind so you never miss what we share next. Hit the like button so more parents can find this, and leave a comment below telling me which one of these 7 signs you have already seen in your baby. I read every single one, and I want to hear your story. See you in the next video.